do a live trip down memory lane. So basically I go into old dungeons and describe like how they were back in the old days and stuff like that. And we're gonna do Sunwell Plateau today. So we're gonna do Sunwell Plateau. And you guys may be too young to remember like what Sunwell Plateau was like. It was the last dungeon of the Burning Crusade. So just in case you guys are wondering, it's gonna be a quick one, okay? It's gonna be a quick one, okay? But it's the last raid of the Burning Crusade. Bro, the warrior who's AFK at the rejects got the mount, dude. I'm gonna say now he's probably like shitting his pants, like taking a number 2, like urging to take a number 2, and like, you know, whatever. GM Island's a good trip down. You can't go to GM Island anymore. They actually made like if you teleport there, you get no man's land. Like you get no man's landed. But anyway, so welcome to where you get this where Sunwell is. So basically back in the old days, so the last little area here. So basically this is Isle Kalgos. So back in the day of Isle Kalgos, you attacked this area and you had to do a whole bunch of daily quests. Like at the start, you basically just did daily quests here to get like memory cores and that's it. G'day, Toby. Okay, that's all good, bro. That's all good. And then eventually you take over the harbor, you take over these areas, and eventually you have a little town like this, basically. And you also have a statue of commendation as well. Fuck, I can't even finish my sentences, but you have this as well. And this is the Isle Kalgos, and it's unlocked 2 dungeons. I think there's Majesty's Terrace, which is all the way up there. And then there's Sunwell Plateau, which we're going to go to here. So you could do Sunwell Plateau and Majesty's Terrace when the patch came out, okay? Like, you didn't have to build up your city to do Sunwell Plateau. But Sunwell Plateau had a different agenda, okay? A different agenda on how you were meant to enter the dungeon. It had a gate that you had to unlock. There was 3 gates. You could do the first 3 bosses, but every other time you had to wait for the gate to be opened to do the next thing. So welcome to a trip down memory lane, by the way, guys. So welcome to the first area here. So basically these guys don't have anything to say. They just give you a situation report about the gateways and stuff like that. Like this chick here told you like, oh yeah, the gate of Muladar has been destroyed. So also another thing as well, as Apple Media says in chat, is that you basically, if you wanted to farm shit, you could basically farm sun motes and shit here. And you just basically farm this guy. Then you would CC and pull this back and farm these guys and stuff like that for the trash mobs. Like they dropped a thing called sun motes. So you can get one to drop. So I can show you guys. So, and it was used to craft gear that was good for Sunwell. And also you can get, epic crafting stuff as well. And not to mention you can mount in here as well. Also, Marco Villadares allowed you to buy flasks as well, and you could stock those up as well. Like, flasks are really, really easy to get. So, this is like the Kalgos trash, and these were the annoying things back in the day. So, what you had to do is that you had to make sure these scouts die, because if these scouts make it to these guys here, you've got a problem, okay? So, pretty much a lot of the pools work like Zulaman in Burning Crusade, is that there was these scouts, you killed the scout first, and then you dealt with all the other packs of the thing. And this is where Void Form and Holy Form was birthed, as the Dust Priest here could go into Void Form, and the Holy Priest could go into Holy Form where they increase their healing and damage. So basically, you need to make sure that the scouts die, and these trash mobs are pretty easy to deal with, as long as you get the CC on the Archmage and you had right targets and good coordination. But the scouts became harder and harder to deal with. Like, they became really, really hard to deal with, where you had a scout, like, back here, which you had to CC before they powered up this dude. Like, the scouts were starting to be, like, a back of packs and stuff like that, where you had to have someone, like, sneak in, sap it, and then kill it. So, after this, basically, you go along the platforms until you get to Kalgos. So, pretty much what you're doing is you're weakening these Fel Crystals, and eventually the last one will get you to Kalgos. There's no more scouts anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. So basically just AoEing down and eventually get to Kalgos. And as you can see, I think you get a sneak peek of Kalgos. Yeah, there he is. There's a sneak peek of Kalgos. And that's the first boss of this instance, okay? And Kalgos was probably a big, big check because it was like, he was harder than Illidan and he was a big mechanics check. He wasn't like a DPS check, he was a massive mechanics check. And also like coordination check as well, because you needed to kill him on the ground and him in the demon realm at the same time. Because if you didn't do that, no more portals would spawn to get Kalgos into the demon realm, and if you killed a demon realm before Kalgos, you could not go back into you could go back into the other realm, but Kalgos would be enraged the moment a demon dies, and when Kalgos is enraged, he does a fuck ton of damage. Like, you've got about, like, I gotta say now, you've got about, like, 15 to 20 seconds to kill Kalgos when he's enraged before he completely F's you up. So with this fight with Kalgos, he has a lot of mechanics, like a lot of mechanics. I don't think the abilities are there, actually. No, they are not, which is unfortunate. But he has a lot of mechanics. Basically, his wild magics, which give you either increased casting time, where you cast a bit faster, but you go a bit slower, extra damage, you pulse out extra damage, you lose mana, and there's a variety of different mechanics. You gain health, you lose health, and you take more damage, you don't take more damage. So basically what this fight was about is that you had a small group around here, and you need to be spread out, okay? Because Kalgos does this thing where he basically blows up someone, and they create a portal to go down to the demon realm. And if you stack together, their portal would kill you, because the portal explodes. And what you did is basically you were spread around the room. You had your portal groups. You had portal group 1, portal group 2, portal group 3, portal group 4. Then you had the tank and healer that's going to stay down and heal the tanks regardless, okay? Like, they're going to stay and heal the tank regardless. You had the 2 tanks. And obviously the rest of the DPS that get portaled down will stay there. So what happens, like, portal group 1 goes in, portal group 2 goes in, and basically just rotates around the fight where you have portal 1 group 1, portal group 2, then basically portal group 3. Like, you can only last in the realm for about a minute or so. So basically, portal group 1 would go out, portal group 3 goes in, portal group 2 go out, portal group goes in, and it's basically like a giant circle. And what you're trying to do is that you're trying to get Kalgos to 0 outside, and you're trying to get Sulfur to corrupt the inside to 0 as well. And what healers do is that Kalgos restores their mana when you're in the downstairs phase. So what we usually did as a guild, we had the Holy Paladins outside, okay? Like, we had the Holy Paladins outside to heal the tank, because Holy Paladins didn't run out of mana back in BC. Like, they were very, very mana efficient. And we had all the other healers, like priests, druids, go in, because they just spam your mana like mad, go to Kalgos, he restores your mana. You got to keep him up, obviously, but he restores your mana over time. And then you keep rotating until the fight's over. I think he has an 8-minute enrage, so you have to kill him in 8 minutes, obviously. It was 10 minutes. But either way, we'll go through the fight now. So pretty much what you do here, he'll port us down, basically to make this soloable. As you can see, he gets banished, and he can't portal you down, okay? And, of course, like the Demon Realm dude, he's going to be living forever, okay? And when you get to this phase, you can't do anything. And pretty much if Kalgos dies, the fight's over, okay? So once you get Salphara and both of them killed, you kill the boss, and that's it, okay? So Kalgos has been defeated. So if you guys are wondering, you can go to the demon phase here, like through this rift. And you go to upstairs. If you guys are wondering where you battle the corrupted dude up here, okay? So the corrupted dude's up here. As you can see, the mist here. He is up here, okay? So after you kill Kalgos, you get to the other side, which you go to Brutalist. And there's very few trash mobs. I think it's only 2 trash mobs to this instance. Basically, when you get here, these guys come out to attack you. And, pretty much, there's no trash mobs to the next boss. Can a 420 do a +8? Yes. So you may have seen Brutalist before. If you've done BC, you would have seen him when you were doing your daily quests. And basically get frosted out. You can actually beat this chick and actually get outside the boss to be down here for Brutalist, but it doesn't really matter since they're untargetable. And Magic goes and tries to kill Brutalist and fails, obviously. Since Brutalist is the next boss. Brutalist was probably the most meanest DPS check there was, okay? Just in case you guys wonder, he was probably the most meanest DPS check. And you needed to have, like, a lot of items. And he also had a bit of mechanics as well. Like, the main mechanic was Meteor Slash, where you basically had 2 groups. I think there's 2 groups, maybe a 3rd group, I'm not sure. I think there may have been 3 groups, potentially, where they basically take up to 2 or 3 Meteor Slashes, and they switch to the next group. They do the same, and then the 3rd group does the same. Maybe it was only 2, actually. I think it was only 2. And so 2 groups had it, 2 groups, slash, Meteor Slash, back and forth. No, Toby. Probably not. So basically, you had back and forth, kind of thing. And, basically there's another mechanic called Burn, where you had to go to a little area away from people to be healed through Burn. And Burn did little damage at the start, then medium damage, and then maximum damage at the end. And you had sometimes you had 3 to 2 burns to manage, okay? As a healer, you had 2 healers to manage the burns, and everyone else managed the Meteor Slashes. I think it's actually 2 groups, actually. And Brutalist, you had to have everything. Like, you had to have, even the debuff, the Arthur's Tears debuff, where he gets dealt an extra 25 damage. You had to have that on the boss. Like, You had so many curses that you needed in a boss. Like, say, even people got out. If you guys remember the weapon Night Moon, no, not Night Moon. What's it called? Night Fury, the one that puts 15% damage, spell damage on the boss. Nightfall, that's it. They even used Nightfall on this boss. Like the other tank that wasn't taking meteor slashes would use Nightfall on this boss to try and get the extra damage, because this DPS check was massive, and this was like the first DPS check in the instance. And this is where stacking classes started to happen. Okay, this is where bring the class of the player started to happen. Is on this boss, because he did so much damage. Like he did absurdly amount of damage he had to do. He had a 6-minute enrage timer. Okay, you had to get 3.3 million health in BC down in 6 minutes. Okay, you can say this DPS check was brutal. It was brutal. It's very, very brutal, and it was an absolute mean DPS check. Then you got the next boss encounter here. Okay, which is gonna be Felmist. So after you kill Brutalist, Felmist becomes corrupted by the Fel. So this blue dragon here becomes Felmist. And this is where it became, all bring the class of the play. You needed 2 priests to do this boss. Like, if you didn't have 2 priests, it was a wipe, because you needed Master Spell. Like, it was the only fight where you needed Master Spell. Basically, you stacked up, and, like, one priest with Master Spell, then the debuff would come out again, and then you had the Master Spell as well. This also has another mean mechanic, which is even worse than Vexiona. So if you fuck up this mechanic, you become MC'd, and you have to be killed, okay? And it's even worse in Vexiona, as it gives you like a very short window to avoid things as well. Another one is that it randomly targets person to encapsulate it. Like basically they go up in a giant arcane ball, and this could freak 2-shot players, okay? Like your healers had to be so on the ball that they had to have an assist macro ready for when encapsulate happened. Like you had a timer and all that, but when encapsulate happened, you had to have an instant heal on that guy and a shield on that guy as soon as you get it up. Even sacrifice as well. As soon as it got up, you had to have sacrifices and healing pumping into him, because he gets damaged for 6 seconds every 0.5 of a second, okay? So he can be 2-shot in a second, or 1.5 seconds, okay? So you have to make sure that that person, was ready to go. Like make sure they were healed up and stuff like that. So if you got like a mage or something like that, easy ice block, But if you got like a warrior or a hunter, because hunters didn't have turtle back in the day. It was like, oh fuck me, Like it was like, oh god, so annoying. Anyways, if the gate was still up, you could not enter this area. Like there'd just be a giant gate here, and Kalgos reaves your way to get to the next area. So let's go to the next area. So basically, these guys get a bit harder, and I think the Mana Fiend is the main one you want to kill first of all, because Mana Fiends do a lot of damage. Then you get these. Then it becomes a little gauntlet. When you kill the first Soulbender, it becomes a gauntlet. Like where you have basically Void guys come down here. G'day Nubitch, hope you're having a good day, my dude. You have Void dudes coming down here, and you have to keep killing these guys as you get up. Like here you go. See, he sees the Volatile Fiend. Like you basically went up here in a gauntlet, and you had to tank off the Volatile Fiend so don't let up lob in a raid. And you had to go. This is where it was like a kind of a gauntlet until the end. So, it's a non-stop fiend to twins. Fucking assassins, man. Also, you had these assassins behind you as well. So, there we go. Also, yeah, as I said before, you have all these assassins that come up behind you as well. But you can dispel it and get rid of it. But yeah, once it's done, it's pretty cruisy, to be honest. How's the CSGO been going, man? I heard a deal with the riot and stuff like that went pretty sour today. But anyways, guys, just in case you guys are wondering, on YouTube, this is live on my Twitch channel, so I'm just talking to my chat at the same time as well. So at this part of the Erida twins, basically these guys will pop out, and you just need to kill them, and that's it. And then you get to basically there's some drama about Riot on Twitter today, if you don't know. So basically the Erida twins are a lot different on this fight. Basically, what you don't want to happen. It's kind of like Zul in Hellfire Citadel, where you don't want to get hit by a shadow attack, and you don't want to get hit by a fire attack if you're tanking the other bosses. Like, you only want to get hit by fire attacks and shadow attacks. And that was this boss in a nutshell. And this boss was a lot easier than Felmist and Brutalist, but it's still just as hard. And you need to kill those two at the same time as well. If you didn't kill them at the same time, pretty much, But actually, no, the other one, you wanted to kill one, and the other one would be buffed back up to 65%. That's right. But you wanted to DPS the other to 65%, so it didn't get buffed up that much. So after that, you get to the most annoying trash pack in the instance, which is the Oblivion Mage. Because it's summoned meteors and shit like that, which you had to constantly, like, you know, constantly soak. Volatile Fiends as well. My favorite, clearly. Yeah, that was with the sponsor. Yeah, apparently Blast is sponsored by the same thing as well, Nubage. So down here, what you did before is you basically killed all these guys here. The Apocalypse Guards are pretty annoying, as well as the Cataclysm Hounds. So pretty much what you had to do, you had to pull everything in here. You had to pull everything down here, because the main reason why you had to do that is because they would aggro through the stairs as you go up. So you had to pull everything down here. And then kill these guys. So, by the way, with the next gate would be here. So if you hadn't done the next gate, there'd be a gate in front of Muru, so you couldn't do Muru. Just in case you guys were wondering. Like, basically, the next gate, if you hadn't done it, would be just in front of Muru. So you cannot proceed. Like, let's just say the gate was up, and we only had one gate broken. There'd be a gate here, and you could not enter Muru. So Muru was the hardest boss before KJ. Like, KJ and Sunwell. Muru is very difficult because of the fact that Muru had so many ad phases. Like, you had to kill Muru while tanking the ads and DPSing the ads. Like, you had to have a Feral Druid DPS tank the ads because no other tank could get enough AoE threat compared to a Feral Druid. And overall, you had so much things you had to control on Muru. And when you got to the next phase where you got no extra mana like you do normally from, you know, Kalgos, for example, you get to Entropius, who's even worse. Like, you had to have all the ads cleaned up before Entropius came out. Like, you had this mini transformation, but you had to have all the ads cleaned up before Entropius came out. And Entropius would fuck you up. So for this one, it's like little... I think there's no more... I think there's 2 trash mobs here. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that's right. There's Fel Reaver trash mobs now as well. Like, giant Fel Reavers as trash mobs. Diablo Immortal or Riot? I'm not a big fan of Diablo Immortal, to be honest. There hasn't been much news of it recently. So basically, this trash pack for Hand of the Deceiver is basically a trash pack before Kill Jaden, I believe. And you can turn into a blue dragon as well, which is awesome. Actually, this is part of the boss. You have to kill the Deceivers, and then Kill Jaden will come out. You can also turn to a blue dragon by clicking these, and you need to provide a haste buff and another buff as well. And then you have to dodge these shadow spikes. Just keep moving. And yeah, that's it. That's Sunwell Plateau. But yeah, so that's a sun mode as well. Like, that's one of the things you had to get in here. And you can turn to a blue dragon by... Basically, Kalgos channels one of these. You can turn to a blue dragon, provide your group haste, or provide your group a safe zone to hide from Kill Jaden's attacks, basically. And yeah, look, you got a lot of you know, bonus things here from Kill Jaden. Like, a lot of the things from Sunwell Plateau also had additional effects as well. And also, Forodal, the bow, dropped off Kill Jaden as well. The legendary bow also dropped off Kill Jaden. So, you know, if you're a hunter, you can get this bow here. But the problem is, like, Forodal was really, really bad. Like, if you equip the magical arrows from Forodal, there was actually worse DPS than equipping the normal bullets. Okay, like the Forodal bow, the arrows from Forodal were weaker DPS than the actual best bullets you could get. So what happened in the end, the Blizzard had to buff it halfway through that Forodal's arrows did like an extra 14 DPS compared to the other one. Because it was actually worse using Forodal, which was quite ironic. Like, you would assume that, you know, Forodal, the legendary bow, would be the most OP bow, but it wasn't. Back in BC, I think the summer was about 2 to 10k. Yeah, it was actually really, really expensive because it was like one of the best things you could get. And also here, if you guys are wondering, you can't pull it back. Oh yeah, there it is. He's enchanted one. Okay, we can be a blue dragon for a bit. There we are. So this blue dragon, you flew around. You basically can breathe haste. I think you can revitalize people as well. And you can breathe haste to people as well so they get better thing. The thing you use it for is this, the shield. Like, you use the shield to protect your teammates, as well as buff them up. And yeah, that was pretty much what you used it for, okay? So yeah, that was, you know, if you guys enjoyed the trip down memory lane, follow and subscribe to me on YouTube. Or, you know, follow me on Twitch. And I do this quite a lot as well. And yeah.